Good morning. I just popped in. You got me just as I'm popping in here. Well, we're a little bit late today because we're in our Naples studio down here in sunny Florida. So as you can see, it is really, really sunny, and it must be Florida because you can hear the people outside cutting grass and mowing things as it is Monday, and always at the perfect time when you're trying to do a broadcast, is when they show up. They've been quiet for the past 2 hours, and now that it's 11 o'clock, they are right outside my door or right outside the studio and taking care of the work. But week 10 is over. So I'm Clay Morris for the Amazing Grace Sports Network, and let's get ready to rumble. Week 10 is 9/10 of the way over. And guess what? The race just got crazier. Let us start off with the first game that was played on Sunday. And that game was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. But it wasn't at home. They were playing them in Munich, Germany. That's right, Munich, Germany, in front of 69,000 Germans who were chanting Sweet Caroline and Take Me Home Country Roads while they were watching Tom Brady and the Buccaneers defeat the surprising Seattle Seahawks, who had won 5 straight and were on top of the NFC West. Now, I don't know what that means when the fans are shouting, because see, that doesn't happen here in America. They don't shout "Sweet Home Caroline" and what is it? Yeah, "Sweet Caroline" and "Take Me Home Country Roads." But it shows you how much they know about American football, which is next to nothing. Now, it doesn't really matter because Tampa Bay won, which is my team. They defied my expert analysis and overcame a surprisingly tough Seattle Seahawks. Now, Tom Brady threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. He even made an attempt at catching the ball, but he should stick to just throwing the ball because he, of course, slipped, fell, and that pass was intercepted. It was thrown by Leonard Fournette. I don't think it ever had a chance of making it, but despite that fact, it just sucked to see that done, and he shouldn't do that. Seattle, they were actually lucky to score on their last touchdown play to make it look like it was a close game, but the game was never in doubt. Now, more importantly, for the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay sits on top of the NFC South with a record of 5-5, if you can believe that. Yeah, they're the top dog at 5-5, and they're the lead of the pack. But they have the Panthers and the Saints and Atlanta in their division, so you can see why they are on top of the division right now. Now, Chicago. Wait a minute. The game for the ages, well, at least for the season, as far as Detroit fans are concerned, involved Chicago and Detroit, because Detroit won, and they did it in Chicago, no less. Now, Chicago, they beat them 31-30. Now, Chicago led comfortably. They were beating Detroit handily, as you would expect. 24-10 going into the fourth quarter. And the game looked to be over at that time. But Detroit came back and scored 14 unanswered points. Then Chicago, that tied the game at 24 of. Chicago scored again. Now, Justin Fields, who has been just tearing up the league, ran for 69 yards for a touchdown on that vaunted Detroit defense. And that put Chicago ahead 30-24 because they missed the extra point. So the point after they missed, it was now 30-24, and you can guess what happened. That's right. In 8 plays, Detroit marched down the field. I think it was 81 yards or 81 or 91 yards. They marched down the field in 8 plays and scored a touchdown and made their point after. And so they won the game. They won the game 31-30. And Chicago lost. Now, here's the deal. Chicago traded away their best defensive players for some unknown reason that only Chicago knows. Maybe they hope it's going to work out in next year, but they don't have any defense now. And don't you know it? Detroit, with their unbelievable high-powered offense, came back on them and scored and won the game, 31-30. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the ball game. Justin Fields did show out though. He threw for 2 touchdowns and he ran for that other one. And I think he's accounting for most of their scores. Good luck. But what that means is Detroit has won 2 games in a row. And I can't remember when the last time that was done. But if you can remember, what I want you to do is leave a comment in the comment section and let me know when this happened. If any of you guys can find that out, because it hasn't been in the last couple of years. Now, in the game that might be considered the game of the day, but I don't, because there's another game that came up. The Minnesota Vikings traveled to Buffalo and defeated the Buffalo Bills 33-30 in overtime. Now, Josh Allen has been injured. He didn't practice all week. He was a game time decision, and then it went hour by hour. He was an hour by hour decision, and then he played. But he was not the Josh Allen that we know. He has an injured right elbow, which affects his throwing very well. So he played, but not very well. The injury affects his accuracy. He threw for 1 touchdown, but then he threw for 2 interceptions. And one was at a critical juncture when they were driving down the field. The Vikings had already scored a field goal in overtime, which means that Buffalo had to score at least a field goal or a touchdown if they wanted to win. And they were down inside the 20, and they looked like they were going to get it done. They were going to win the game. And Josh Allen threw for another interception. Now, I also need to preface this, that they would not have been in that situation, but he fumbled the ball into the end zone, losing it there, and the Vikings recovered it, which gave them that 3-point lead. That they gave them a 3-point lead that made Buffalo have to drive the length of the field with less than a minute to kick a field goal to tie the game to make it go into overtime. So this game was full of everything. It was full of great defense, but it was the point was Josh Allen probably shouldn't have played, and he did, and he cost his team. I don't know if they have another quarterback to put in there. This is something maybe I should study before I say anything, but I know they had Mitch Trubisky last year, and they could have put him in, and he probably could have won this game for them against the Vikings, because Allen made so many mistakes. It was almost as if he wasn't really the same quarterback, and he wasn't. Now, let's move on. As I predicted, Jacksonville traveled to Kansas City, and the outcome was easily predictable. Kansas City was going to kill him. Now, they didn't really kill him as far as points go. The Jaguars were snared, beaten, and tamed by the Chiefs to the score of 27-17. But Patrick Mahomes threw for 330 yards in 4. That's right, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. I'm not kidding you. He accounted for all the touchdowns in the game. He threw for 4 and he ran for 1. Do I have that correctly? Yeah, I'm almost sure that he did. Let me check that out just to be sure. I'm going to check that out. We want to be somewhat. No, he accounted for all four touchdowns. He didn't run for 1. So what was it? 27-17. They missed the extra point. So he accounted for 4 touchdowns throwing and 30 yards rushing. And I think this guy might deserve a raise, because I think he ran more than the running backs again this week. And he's worth it. But it has us wondering, is anyone else on the offensive side of the Chiefs worth a darn? Because nobody seems to be getting it done except a guy named Patrick Mahomes when it comes to catching, receiving, kicking, punting on the offensive side. And I don't think they're going to go far with that. But we'll get into that later. On the other side of the ball, Trevor Lawrence. He threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. But it was 27-10 in the fourth when the Jaguars scored to make it 27-17, which means it wasn't that close. And that was Jacksonville's last hurrah. The party was over. Call it a day. Now, in the game, they surprised most people, but not me, because I know these guys like the back of my hand. The 3 wins with 6 losses, Green Bay Packers hosted the vaunted 6-2 Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, so-called America's. America is like, oh my God. America doesn't need to be like this. Not like Dallas, because Dallas, well, we'll get into it. But as I predicted, though the world predicted a Dallas win, not me, I predicted a Dallas loss because I know Dak Prescott. That's right. You know, he's been around for a number of years, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I think it might be 8 years. And I've seen all of this before, all of it. Dak this and Dak that, and Dallas looks like a powerhouse. Until they play a game of importance. Now, that's not to say that, you know, this is a great game. But let me put it this way. As I said in last Friday's video, Dallas should absolutely crush the Packers. So I'm taking the Packers. Why? Because Dallas has a tendency to fold in big games. And though this is not really a big game, it is on the road and it is in the spotlight, end quote. And that, being on the road and in the spotlight, proved to be too much for the Dallas Cowboys. So they choked. Dak Prescott threw for 265 yards and 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He threw the ball 46 times to complete it 27 of those times. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, threw the ball 20 times, just 20. He threw to Aaron Rodgers, one of the most prolific throwers in the history of football, of the NFL, threw it just 20 times, and he completed it 14 times for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. In addition, Dallas's number 1 rated defense gave up 31 points to the lowly, that means crawling on the ground, wormly, Green Bay Packers, who had lost 5 straight. That about sums it up, sports fans. And especially for you Dallas sports fans, you ain't going there with Dak Prescott. Sorry to give good people bad news. But if you ain't already figured it out, it's time for you to take off that cowboy hat and those cowboy uniforms until you get a quarterback who won't choke in the big game. Down goes Dallas. The New York Football Giants, on the other hand, weren't having any of that Dallas frame of mind. Nope. You see, they were supposed to beat Houston, and beat Houston they did. Daniel Jones, the quarterback of the New York Giants, the much maligned Daniel Jones, threw the ball even less than Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you that they beat him by a score of 24-16. 24-16. That was the score that the New York Giants beat him by. Now, Daniel Jones threw even less than Aaron Rodgers, which is he only attempted 17 passes, and he connected on 13 of them. 2 of them for touchdowns. That's right. You know, it doesn't take a lot of passes to win a game. I mean, as Tampa Bay was showing earlier in this year when they couldn't run the ball, and Tom Brady was throwing for astronomical times, like 50 times, and they would lose the game. You need a little bit of running there, and you need some people who can catch a ball, which apparently is escaping most of these people. But anyway, Daniel Jones let Saquon Barkley do all the work. Saquon had 35 carries. What were they doing? Trying to kill this kid? For 150 yards. There was nobody else that could run the ball? If I was Saquon, I'd say, listen, I think he's going into a contract year. Oh, my leg just got hurt. Oh, I'm feeling the hamstring pill. When they got me to 25 carries. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's be serious. You don't need to work this guy 35 times. But anyway, the Giants won the game. It wasn't even really that close. At the end of the third quarter, it was 24-10. And it could have ended there as New York easily covered the 4.5 spread at the conclusion of it. But look at it this way. This was a win-win for both teams. The Giants got their win, and Houston got their loss, which means they are still the worst team in the league record-wise and in place for the number 1 draft pick in the NFL come next spring. Now, the Tennessee Titans hosted the Denver Broncos in a game that featured the return of Ordinary Joe Ryan Tannehill coming off the injured list, playing against $50 million Wolverine blood Russell Wilson. And it turns out the Ordinary Joe was better of the two, as the Titans won the game 17-10. Tannehill threw for 2 touchdowns. Wilson threw for 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Titans running back Derrick Henry only got 53 yards on 19 carries, which forced Tannehill to throw. This game was even more boring than expected. The 10 points that Denver scored, they scored it in the first half, and they would not score another point for the rest of the game. Oh, $50 million in Wolverine blood, and you can't even get a field goal. Anyway, I picked the Titans to win, and they won, but tell me who didn't. Denver's now 3-6. Tennessee's now 6-3. And sports fans, that about sums up that game. It had to be played, so because it was scheduled, so somebody had to play it. That was done. In a game for the ages, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the New Orleans Saints 20-10. Yes, for the ages. I don't know what ages we're talking about, but anybody who watched this game is stuck in the past because Pittsburgh is going nowhere and nowhere fast, and the same holds true for the Saints. Now, the Steelers were led by the firm of Pickett, Pickens, and Wilson, I believe it was. Let me just check that out. Pickett, Pickens. He actually ran for a touchdown, and I don't know what happened, people. Somehow I just blinked out. Maybe my. Well, you know what? I'm here in Florida, and everything's so nice. You know, you think everything would go correctly, but it didn't. Everything has not gone correctly so far. And I think I need my remote for this and a remote for that, and I don't have it. And I'm working with all of my accoutrements that I had in Boston. But we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. Okay. Kenny Pickett threw for 199 yards, no passing TDs, but he did run for a touchdown. And receiver George Pickens ran for a touchdown, and kicker Matthew Wright. So it's Pickett, Pickens, and Wright. The firm of Pickett, Pickens, and Wright scored all the points for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, that was a hard one. Matthew Wright, the kicker, accounted for the other 8 points. New Orleans, unfortunately, was led by Andrew Dalton, who threw for 2 interceptions in addition, or maybe it should be listed as a subtraction. They ran the ball 15 times for just 29 yards, and 3 of those times it was by Andy Dalton, who was running for his life. Neither of these teams should even be thinking about the playoffs, but hope springs eternal, and one never knows. I should say neither of these 2 teams or the fans should be thinking about the playoffs, but hope springs eternal, and who knows? And speaking of which, hope springs eternal. The Indianapolis Colts defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 25-20 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they picked up their 4th win of the season in 10 tries. What makes this win significant is that Jeff Saturday was just an ESPN analysis 2 weeks ago. He is now head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And that means, let's put in perspective, Jeff Saturday had never coached a team or never coached in the NFL. I think he coached a high school team, just whatever. Just, and the fact that this team, I think his hometown team asked him to coach, and he did for a period of time. That being said, he had no NFL experience as far as coaching. And he just became the head coach on Monday. And he won. So a man with no coaching experience in the NFL, none, nil, nada, zippo, zero, zilch, Yes, that man won as head coach last Sunday, which means everybody, 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 okay, which means there's hope for you and me. Yes, Mr. Everybody, Mr. Anybody, you and I. If Jeff Saturday can win as a head coach with no experience, so can't you. But just don't look at it like this. Like, it takes head coach. It takes drive. It takes initiative. It takes want. It also takes a crazy owner like Jim Irsay to just grab you and say, listen, I want you to be my coach. But what I'm really trying to point out, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sports fans everywhere, is never give up. Never give up. Never give up your dream. Whatever it is, it can happen for you. So, hope springs eternal for all of us, except the Las Vegas Raiders, of course, who, because now they lost, they're at 2-7. But look at it this way. There's always a silver lining in here somewhere. You just have to dig for it. Because at 2-7, they're in the thick of things as, the team to get the worst record of the league. And they're only behind the Texans, who only have one win. So the Raiders are in the thick of things with 2 wins. And they'll surely get a very high value draft pick. So it was still a win-win situation. And that should make everybody happy, especially for the Raiders. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, they traveled 1 hour. That's what it takes by plane ride to get to Los Angeles. And they should do this every week, because if they can, they'll have a record like you won't believe, because they beat the Rams. Yes, but this is really a game of backup quarterbacks. Colt McCoy was the backup quarterback for Arizona, and a man named John Wolford was the backup quarterback for the Rams. The Rams, Matthew Stafford went out with a concussion protocol. He had a concussion, and so he went out the game. And Kyler Murray, he had a hamstring injury, so he was out. So we had 2 backup quarterbacks going against each other. One was a 3rd or 4th year guy. I think Colt McCoy is a 12-year guy. And Colt McCoy threw for 230 yards, and he powered the Cardinals to a 27-27 win over the Rams, who just 9 months ago were on top of the football world and are barely at the bottom. What's worse? See, they're at the bottom, just like the Raiders and just like the Texans. But what's worse for them is that they don't own a draft pick. No, they don't. You see, they gave up that draft pick to get to Matthew Stafford. Yeah, so that worked out for them. At least it worked out for them 1 year. Now, it's sunny Florida, but we have clouds going by, and so we have a little variation in the exposure. Not that there we go. See, now we're back to whatever. We're going to get this right. I guarantee you guys, this is our first time back here this week, and we're going to get this right by the end of the week. So let's move on. The Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns traveled to Miami, Florida, and as expected, Miami, Florida was just too much for the Cleveland Browns. It could have been the Miami Dolphins was too much for the Cleveland Browns. However, it worked out. It was a rout. I think it was 39-13. Tua Tagovailoa. Okay. I just call him Tua Tags so I don't mess up his name. So Tua Tags threw for 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. The guy that I said had the weakest arm in the NFL at the beginning of the season, I believe is one of the leaders of the NFL as far as throwing yards go. Not only that, they rushed for 190 yards also and 2 touchdowns. So they scored 3 touchdowns through the air and 2 touchdowns on the ground. There's 5 touchdowns. Well, anyway, let's just keep going with this. Defensively, they shut down the league's number 1 rushing tandem of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And they sacked Jacoby Brissett 3 times. This is all good news for the Dolphins because they move into first place in the AFC with 7 games to go. For Cleveland, not so much. Cleveland, I'm just for the heck of it, I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to look up something here. And Cleveland is 3-6. The Ravens lead the division at 6-3. And then it's the Bengals at 5-4. So it doesn't look good for Cleveland going forward. But there is hope. Deshaun Watson, the man that Cleveland pursued so heavily in the offseason, is finally going to be able to start practicing with the team beginning today. So, Cleveland, yes, something to look forward to. Maybe Deshaun Watson is your savior, and you're about to find out very soon. And Deshaun Watson is about to find out very soon. Now, in the game of the week, as far as I'm concerned, or the game of the weekend, as far as I'm concerned, the Los Angeles Chargers went to San Francisco to play the 49ers. Now, this was a low-scoring game. If I remember right, it's 22-16. But this one had all the action of everything that you can imagine. It was fast playing. There was great running. There was great passing. There was great receiving. There was great defense on both sides. And Justin Herbert, one of the premier quarterbacks in the league, got knocked out the game and still came back. But I think what we found out in this game is the blueprint of the San Francisco 49ers. And this is a scary team. Not because of Jimmy Garoppolo, but because of all the weapons they have. Deebo Samuels, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk. You can throw Jimmy Garoppolo in there if he can manage the game, which is all he's going to be asked to do. Because let me put it this way, guys. They rushed the ball 41 times. That's right. San Francisco ran the ball 41 times. I know. You're saying Saquon Barkley ran the ball 35 times by himself. I think they had 6 guys, that divvied up this 41 times. So it was actually much easier. Deebo Samuels was even running out of the backfield. They only completed 19 passes for an astounding 240 yards, which goes to show you that the yards after the catch for San Francisco is off the hook. It's like 20 yards per catch. Each catch is, going for 20 yards. Why they only threw the ball 19 times, I don't know. With an average like that, I throw it a bit more. Instead of 19 times, maybe I throw it 40 times. That game would have been over. But needless to say, what we see is that we see a blueprint for 49ers. And Sean McVay, the head coach for the Rams, he showed everybody what he wanted to do offensively when it comes to the pass. But we're beginning to see what Kyle Shanahan really thinks about. And he thinks about doing it with the run. And he had Raheem Mostert last year and the year before, but he was doing it then. And he was mixing things up with the pass, more the pass, more the pass. I mean, more the run, more the run. He's doing it with the run. Kyle Shanahan is thinking about doing it with the run, rushing the ball, than he is over the pass. He'd rather run the ball. And he wants to do the running in a variety of ways and with different personnel. And when he uses it correctly, they are quite dangerous. And I think the rest of the NFL should be wary of the San Francisco 49ers, because if they can do this going forward and get better going forward, they will be in the Super Bowl, because they have a pretty darn good defense. And now their offense, you're going to have to do a lot to stop them. They got good receivers. And they got, well, you know what? I'm just not going to talk about them anymore. I'm just going to say the NFL, well, if you're astute, should keep an eye on the 49ers, because they are going forward and they are looking darn good since they got Christian McCaffrey and everything going in place. Like I said, Justin Herbert was knocked out the game as he tried to scramble. He came back, but the 49ers defense was too much. The 49ers is just now one game behind the Seahawks in the West, and they are built to take it over. Now, that's going to wrap it up. I'm sorry everything is a little bit rushed today, but I just got back into Florida yesterday, and there was a lot of things that had to be done, adjustments that had to be made. But I want you to know, still, as always, Clay Morris for the Amazing Grace Sports Network, reminding you that you are the most important person in sports. Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans everywhere, you have to know that. Take care of yourself. Keep yourself in the right frame of mind. I will see you tomorrow on NBA Tuesday when we will talk about the Eastern Conference of the NBA and what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets and the rest of the league that's actually playing. And then I will see you on Wellness Wednesday. Remember, Like, subscribe to our podcast and to our website. We also have a website, so you can go there and check out some of the things. We have writers on there from various writers who also talk about their teams, so you might want to check that out. And leave comments. Leave comments. If you have some ideas, or better yet, you think you want to say something, let me know. I'll bring you on. I'll bring you on and let you say it. I mean, within reason. Don't go being controversial here. This is just going to be about sports. Okay. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I think we have been on for 30 minutes. I had a lot to say. There were a lot of games. There was a lot to cover. And I think we covered it all. Clay Morris for the Amazing Grace Sports Net saying you are the most important person in sports. Signing off. Thank you very much. I will talk to you later. Ciao. My. What are you doing? It's time for us to get something to eat. It's always good to be positive. Yeah, so let's stick around. And let's start by see doing that too. But we were in Walmart yesterday, so what happened? I don't know. What do you think? You need body wash? Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm in Florida. Here with my wife. Oh, she should be here a while. We're about to go get something to eat. You guys home? Get out of here. No, we haven't seen nothing yet, man. Actually, it was kind of warm in Boston, but it was getting cold up there, so. It's getting there. It's getting there. No, we made the trip. We came down. We just made it in yesterday. Okay. We were a little bit tired. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Get home. Come back to Florida. Yeah. But you know, you guys needed a vacation. You know, you're in Florida in the summertime. It's hot. I'm sure Drew needed to get out for a while. But get Well, you know what? Massachusetts elected the first gay governor. They were like championing it, like it was a big deal. Like, yo, it's been closet sons of bitches already up in that joint. So who cares? Right? Like, who's fooling who?
It's just like everything else, they'll champion the gays and then put them down. I mean, that would be the thing. Like, they champion all sorts of things, the Democrats, but then you realize when you go back through history, you realize that it's putting everybody down.
Yeah.
They don't champion anyone, they just champion what they think they're championing.
You know, you champion the puppets. They couldn't care who the hell they are. The white guy, they said, be the first white guy who came from a Jewish, Irish, Australian extraction. So you think that's wonderful? He just said, get me a group from the top. He doesn't.
That's like the ACDC is a whole group.
You know, but he just better get it there to tell them they know. If he doesn't, you never hear from this guy again. I tell you, he'll be gone. Quicker than you can say, I was a dabber. We're running his ass out of here. We're like, you know what? We'll banish him. We'll get him locked up. So that's the deal, yo.
How long was the old journey down there?
It only took 2 days, but it was, you know, it kind of drains you. It's 1,500 miles.
Yeah. I mean, our journey is, what is it, 4.5 maybe, but we'll do it again soon.
But, yeah, well, you got to do it. You know, back and forth is part of the whole thing. But how many miles is yours?
Ours is 3,500 miles, so.
Wait. Yours is 3,500?
Yeah, from Carmel to.
Oh, that's right, because you're going all the way up, and you're going to the west all the way up. You're going up. You're going further up. You're going pretty far
Yeah,
up.
we're, I don't even know what latitude. It's basically San Francisco.
Yeah, it's San Francisco.
Latitude, that is. And there's no direct route across, so you have to like go up a road, then come down, or you cut across. We cut across on this thing called 46, and it's James Dean's highway. It's where he crashed his car, right? So,
Yeah, you really can't. I mean, you know, why do you want to remember that? Just forget about that.
well, there's a big commemorative that they lied about it. So he ran into a tractor, so they actually thought, well, it'd be nice if we just put it next to the shop so we can have something to sell. So they moved the commemorative down the road.
Yeah, well,
James Dean died here.
he did.
What was he doing? Getting a smoothie?
Well, we don't even want to talk about what kind of smoothie he might have been getting. If we know about James.
Right. It could be it was a Maryland smoothie, probably. But.
No, he went the other way. He went the other way. So
he just like walking around in leather jackets. I get it. Yeah.
yes,
Young man, there's no need to be done.
that's right.
Young man.
He believes in the YMCA way. Yeah,
He does. Oh my God.
he did. He's no longer believing in anything right now.
Well, that's true. He doesn't believe much now. So.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to be back. The weather here is fantastic. Perfect November weather.
No, it is, isn't it? It's just like
Beautiful.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful freaking weather here right now. So we're enjoying it.
Well, we can't wait to see you. We haven't figured out a date to get back yet. We'll figure out, book a flight and come. We've been doing some modifications for our washer dryer, putting a washer dryer in the kitchen so we don't have any people downstairs. So.
Wait a minute, at the over there in Carmel?
Yeah. At Rose Cottage, we just built a washer dryer.
Oh, that's right, because the kids have all moved out. So you're managing it. I think you have a kid. One of your kids are managing it now.
Yeah, he's downstairs, and but he doesn't want anyone down there. They used to go in the garage to do. It's just unbelievable. It's like somebody comes to stay at your house and does like 4 loads of laundry. Were they just saving up or something to go on holiday?
You can't trust these people. You know that. They take.
California, you're not allowed to use electricity. The funny thing is, like Drew said, she was telling somebody that we're going to put a gas stove in the house, and they go, "Oh, gas, that's terrible for the environment." Like, so somebody naturally has something to say to her automatically about gas, like because they're going to ban it here soon.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna make everything electric, and then with one flick of a switch, the instantaneous thing is if you don't have good social credit score with Governor Newsom,
You-
he'll turn you off.
You just love those communists. You just love those communists. They started
Oh
nothing.
my God. They are just
Listen,
insane.
and these people will follow him right down the ravine with pikes and large spikes waiting for them when they hit the
What do they
ground.
call those things that walk off the cliff? Is it weevils?
Lemons.
That's it.
Lemons.
That's cool. It's like the lemon law.
That would be California. That would be California, the lemon
Well,
law.
I
Dude.
know. I've never seen so many miserable people in all my life. I don't know what the hell they've got to be miserable about.
Well, because they're Democrats.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
it.
They're Democrats. You know, and if you're a Democrat, you know, you have to be
It's a
miserable.
mental disorder.
As Rush said, yes, it is.
It is.
He is.
It's absolutely small.
He was absolutely correct. He wasn't deviating, and nothing has changed. You know what? Well, I'll just wait till you guys get back. Listen, we don't want to talk politics. We're having too much fun.
I know, it's very fun. I mean, we just won Arizona, except nobody's going to announce that until the general election. So there's a that drag out.
These guys are getting their ass handed to them, and you know what? They want to announce it, so it's really not happening. You know, nobody's supposed to know. We keep you guys dumb and stupid. You know what? Hey, hey, hello, hello, Drew. Oh,
She's over there here.
no, she's not a big shot.
She said we misplayed.
Yeah, well, we miss you guys too. I'm waiting for my wife to get ready. Can we go and get something to eat? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, and trying to, it's going to 12 o'clock. I haven't eaten yet. She's out there looking at bugs outside, and I'm ready. I'm going to get something to eat.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Bless you. Get a shower. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.